Do you like to travel? Yes. Do you want to travel? Yes. Do you want to travel around the world? Yes. But I don't have enough money. Do you want to travel around the world with less budget? Yes. Meet Saleh Al-Khanjari, known as Omani Around the World, on Chataway Live this Saturday, 16th of October at 8:30 p.m. Oman time. Hatim,
Yep.
whenever you plan for travel, what are the first things that come in your mind?
Whenever I plan for travel, Ali, there are three main things that I look for: good food,
Mm-hmm.
kind people, and nature.
That's it?
Those are the most important things to me. And there are, of course, other things: the cost of the journey and the visa and the other requirements for the travel. But these three are the most important thing to me.
I want to show you a twist in the way you might travel. Do you want to know
Really?
about that?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
I would
yeah,
love to
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yes, I would love
Okay,
to know.
then just hold on. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Chataway in UMMATI station. How's everybody doing? Hatim, how are you
Wa
doing, brother?
alaikum salam, Ali. I'm doing well. And how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing very great. And by the way, to our followers, we apologize for the delay. I think we made 10 minutes delay, which is not part of what we should be doing. Inshallah, it will not happen again. But, you know, sometimes we get into technical issues. So please forgive us for that.
Let me ask you, Ali, have you been to all the continents of the world?
No, except Australia. I've been to all except Australia.
Okay, so what are one of the countries that you wish to go and you haven't until now?
Yeah, Palestine, man.
Palestine.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Brazil.
I've been to Brazil, but I've been to Brazil only to attend a competition, well, to participate in a competition. And then it was like 5 days, and then that's it. I didn't do much.
Well, I think our guest today will give us some tips on how you can go to Palestine and how can I go to Brazil, inshallah. So who's our guest today?
So, our guest for today is, let me just introduce our guest for today. He
MashaAllah.
is
Oh, this way, this way.
He is a mechanical engineer and an explorer. He worked in the oil and industry for a few years. I don't know how many years. We'll check with him. Then he decided to follow his passion for exploring the world for 3 years to seek knowledge and wisdom from all over the world. Let us all welcome Saleh Al-Khanjari. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم
Hey.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. How are you
How are you,
guys?
Saleh?
How are you?
Good,
الحمد
good.
لله نشكر الله الحمد لله all is good الحمد لله.
Welcome to the show, Saleh. You know, the last time we met is before you started the journey of traveling around the world, when you were still working for the oil and gas. Subhanallah, time flies so fast. We've been following you
Exactly.
on social media, and we've always wanted to have you on the show to hear the story from the man himself.
From the man
I'm
himself.
really pleased to be with you guys.
Uh,
It is a really cool live show.
it is,
Jazakallah khair.
inshallah, it is going to be cool with you, man. Especially that you're going to share some experiences with us. But before we even go towards the travel, let us talk a little bit about you and, what made you decide. Maybe let us go back to the childhood, if there's any connection between your childhood and the travel. So if you can take us to there first. Who is Saleh?
To be well, I think like when you ask me who's Saleh, I think that's a kind of a challenging question to ask who's Saleh, because I think years shape you. Not like I cannot say who am I today. I cannot say who am I 2 years ago. Every day I change. Every day I change. I cannot describe myself. So as of today, if you ask me today, who am I? I say like I'm a person who experiencing the world, love experiencing cultures. I love communities, loving interacting with people, doing projects that is related to communities, projects that are related to sustainability, projects that are related to developing the communities in a really good way, in a way that is like with the environment. So it's really important that we develop communities mentally and in a way that it is sustainable with the environment. So I think
MashaAllah.
this is who am I today.
Saleh, you were working as an engineer in the oil and gas, and then
Mhm.
suddenly you decided to quit and go and travel. This is something that is very rare. Someone who is in the beginning of their career to just quit and start traveling. How did you come to make that decision, and what did your family think about that decision?
Well, first of all, I don't think it is a day-night decision. It have been I have been thinking of it over the years. I would say over 1 year or 2 years. I have been thinking, okay, I don't think this work is suitable for me. It's easy. I love it.
Yes,
It's fun, especially when it comes to mathematics, when it comes to calculations, when it comes to working with people. I really love my work. But then I really want to live and work here for the rest of my life. I don't think that's the answer. That's the thing I want to do. I think I want to do something that is way far away from materials, something that more goes into humanity, goes more into helping people, learning more about people. What does people do? How can we help them to make a better decision, especially with the youth? If we think about the youth, how we develop their thinking, how we could like make them passionate about a lot of things in life. It's not just the thing that we were taught in a way that we have to follow materials, we have to follow money, we have to follow our careers. I don't believe that's the way we have to go. I believe we have to follow our guts, our feelings, and the direction we should in our life. Like even in prayers, you cannot
yes,
just pray because you are forced to pray. You have to pray from your heart. It's exactly the same with
yes,
your life and everything else. You have to follow your heart with it. That's why I came with the decision that, okay, now let's discover the world and let's learn more about other communities. Let's learn more about other cultures. How does people eat? How does people think? Like, let's reduce, for example, the racism as well. Like, because I believe in Oman we are kind of a multicultural, and it's really
yes,
nice to experience other cultures, other type of people, other levels and everything. So I think that was one of the reasons I decided, okay, it's time to take a different direction, to look to see the world in a different way. Of course, at the beginning, it was, as I said, it wasn't just a one-day decision. Okay, I'm gonna quit my job. It was a really long process. I had to study the whole case uh, of quitting my job, because it has consequences. You cannot just
yes,
day and night take this risks, because of course there are consequences. And first of all, let's say the consequence of sustaining myself financially, for example,
yes,
the consequence of being going into risky countries, consequences of being far away from my family, my friends, and the loved people, the loved ones. So it was a challenge. It was a really like I couldn't sleep for nights thinking about how could I take a step forward. But Alhamdulillah, I took the step forward of deciding, okay, yalla, I have to do it. So what I did, I bought a big map, like a wallpaper around the world. And for 1 year, I look at it every day and night, saying like, I'm going to travel around the world. Every day, Ali and Hatem. Every day when I say, okay,
MashaAllah,
I'm
mashallah.
going to like when you do نية it happens يعني إنما الأعمال بالنيات فالحمد لله يعني
intentions.
Intention,
الحمد لله
the
exactly.
intention was there for the right reason. So Allah made it easy for you.
الحمد لله exactly yeah yeah, and then I decided to travel the world. Like I gave and I wrote in a paper like I'm going to quit my job in the 1st of May 2016, and they actually did it, but not in May. It was in June. But
Yes,
Mashallah.
alhamdulillah, يعني
mashallah.
the exact day, almost the exact day, I quit my job. يعني alhamdulillah.
And did you go home, Saleh, and tell your family, surprise, I quit my job?
Yeah. Tell us the reaction.
Uh,
No, I don't think it was something like this. I prepared the atmosphere. It wasn't like,
yeah.
I'm quitting my job. You
Uh-huh.
have to prepare the atmosphere. You have to be diplomatic.
Uh-huh. Diplomatic. How diplomatic you can be? You already quit your job, okay?
Like you should like give nudging or like poke your parents a little bit. Okay. I would tell them like, okay, I'm not into materials. I'm not into materials. First of all, I got a job, but it's not something I want. I
Mm,
don't think I want this job. I think I want something that is related to something I love, something I want to do. And yeah, so this was the first talk, and then I had other talks. The second talk, I went to tell them like, okay, I think it's time to do something different.
mm.
It's time to follow my passion. And then on the third meeting or the fourth meeting, I told them I think I'm
Uh-huh.
quitting my job.
Okay.
Why? I told them like, okay, yeah, because I want to travel the world. And of course, like
Mm.
it
So
was
so
Yeah.
you
it was
told them before you quit.
of course, yeah, I
لا
told them
تورطوا
before I quit.
يا علي، لا
No,
تورطوا الرجال.
no. Because from my experience, I
Yes.
quit and then I told. I quit the job and then I told them that hey, I quit my job. It just happened. I
Yeah,
can't
no,
do
no,
anything about it. It's done.
You know,
no,
Ali,
I told them like
Ali,
3 months in
sometimes
advance.
your friends or family, they will come and tell you like, okay, but how are you going to buy a car? How are you going to build a
Yes,
house? How are you
yes.
going to get married?
I was
When
avoiding
are you going
all
to do
that.
these things?
I was avoiding
So
all that.
these are all questions they ask you, thinking that
Yes.
maybe they are important now because everybody else is doing them. So I'm sure,
Mm.
Saleh, your family also asked you, when are you going to build a house? When are you going to find a wife? When are you going to have kids? So these things, they do happen, but Alhamdulillah, you managed to convince your parents and you're still alive. Nobody shot you. And you managed to
Alhamdulillah.
fulfill your dream and travel the
Yeah.
world.
Mashallah.
S-
Alhamdulillah. It
So,
was like I'm not regretting it at all because it was a unique experience. It was a once in a life experience that I really recommend every youth or every person who just graduated from school or from university to experience something like this. I wouldn't say like you shouldn't experience it. Even people over 30, they should experience it.
Even
But I
old
really
people like
recommend it.
Hatim.
Yeah, mashallah, he's young.
I can see that.
But yeah,
Uh, okay, Ali. Okay.
Oh man.
Now, Saleh, tell me, in terms of planning, you already have the map in your room.
Mm.
There must be a point of beginning, you know, which direction you decided to take and why. Did you want to go east
yeah,
first or west or north or south? How did you do the logistics, the planning, the finance, the formalities, gathering information? All these things are very, very important than the journey itself. You know, these are
True.
the preparation. So, how did you go about doing that?
yeah, Hatem. It took me around 1 year to plan, to be honest. So I started reading
MashaAllah.
books, blogs, articles, websites, looking at the map every day, planning every day, like, okay, which direction should I go? And then I thought, okay, I think I should follow the plan depending on my visas. Where could I go? Where is it easy to pass by? Where is it like, especially the first months, the first 6 months, where it is easy to travel through, and then I went by the seasons. So I quit my job. I started traveling in first of June, and then I said, okay, I think Iran is the best time. Like the season is really, the weather is really good at that time, and then I would prefer to go all the way to Europe, because in summer Europe is the best place to visit. So and then decided,
Mm.
okay, after Europe, I would go all the way to North America and then to Canada by, let's say, by October, and then try to go all the way to the south, all the way to Argentina. And then I would go to Africa. After Africa, go to Asia. So it was just a random plan. I thought, okay, this might work. I could travel around the world for 1 year, and I
You,
really
you,
planned for like I planned it for 1 year.
sorry, Saleh, you didn't follow a trail. You jumped from one place to another, or did you follow a trail of sequence
No,
like Iran and then India and then Pakistan and then so on?
actually, I followed it. I wanted like to follow it, and I didn't want to take a plane at all. So the plan wasn't to take a plane at all, only to cross the oceans. Other than that, I would
Mm,
never take a plane.
Mm.
okay,
So I wanted to start from Iran and then go all the way to Europe through through Armenia, Turkey, and all to Europe. This was the first plan. But
okay.
then, like you always plan for something, but you have to know and you have to accept that nothing goes up as planned.
Yeah.
There's
Yes,
always
yes.
left and right, there are always detours. So when I started traveling, literally everything changed. I planned to go like to visit Iran, for example, for 2 weeks. I ended up staying in Iran for 1 month.
Hmm.
In Armenia
MashaAllah.
and Georgia for 10 days. I ended up one
So
month
what
in
was the challenge that made you extend 2 more weeks?
it wasn't actually a challenge, more than like I realized it's better to stay in a country and be with the people
Or
instead
did
of
you
like,
or did you
okay, I
get
do.
married there? Did you get married? That's why you just didn't decide to move out?
Uh,
Ali, 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 Ali is gonna get you into trouble today, Saleh. So, just ignore Ali. Pretend he's not here. No, but I
yeah, Ali,
understand, Saleh. I understand. Every country you go, you realize that there is a lot to explore. There's so many cities to visit, so many villages, so many things to experience. Yes, you might have planned for 2 weeks, but and then you realize that, you know what? 2 weeks is not enough to explore
Mm,
this place. Yeah, especially like a country which is rich in heritage, like
yeah.
Iran. There is so many different cultures and communities that you need to see. And maybe that's going to be the only time that you're going to visit Iran. So you take advantage of it.
That's true.
Exactly. Yeah. For example, like let's say if in Mexico, I was planning to stay there for 3 weeks, and they ended up staying there for 3 months, over 3 months
Three
actually.
three
Mm.
months. MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
From from 3 week from 21 days to 100 days.
Wow,
It must be the
MashaAllah.
tacos. It must be the tacos.
Everything happened. يعني ما شاء الله. It's, you feel the culture and the people like you're living in any Arab country. Like the culture of Mexicans, it feels like
Masha-
you're home. That's why like I felt comfortable and I felt okay. I think I'm going to stay more. And I stayed
Mm.
for 3 weeks, for 3 months. I mean,
Okay, let's take you back to the planning stage again because we're talking about the planning. Now, what were you trying to avoid during the planning? I mean, I'm talking about if there is anything to do with
Mm,
politics or what exactly.
yeah, actually, I was trying to avoid conflict areas. Like
Mm.
I planned for places to go in places that in a risky places, but not in a dangerous places. So like in a conflict areas, I tried to avoid countries. For example, at that moment, it was Venezuela, for example. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like I
Yes.
said I have to like avoid Venezuela, countries that are really in a conflict. So I think mostly countries that were in a conflict or countries that is difficult to obtain a visa. Even though that I
Yeah.
tried to get a visa, but it's really difficult to get a visa, such as Palestine. It's really
Mm.
difficult to get a visa.
So was it
So
part of
there
your
was
plan
much.
also?
Yeah, actually, it was. I really planned to go to
Oh,
Palestine, but
mashallah.
it was really challenging to go to Palestine, and you had to normalize things with Israel, and you had like to go under the Israeli law.
So what about the places where there are crimes? You know, people steal you, kill you for stealing. So those places, do you avoid them or you say, no, I'm going to take the challenge and go to these countries?
It really depends because most of these places are just cities. I would say it's not the whole country. Most
Mm-hmm.
it's just cities. So I try to avoid these cities, but not the country. So, for example, I don't know which
Well,
city
yeah.
I could
When you said Mexico, when you said you stayed
Yeah,
Mexico for a month, I
yeah.
think the media plays also a huge role in misconception, giving the wrong
Mhm,
image about a place. You know, everybody
Yeah.
thinks that Mexico City is a dangerous city and you shouldn't go there. But I'm sure
mhm.
there are parts of Mexico that is very peaceful. The people are so loving and it's very safe. You wouldn't stay there for a month and come back and do this show if it was dangerous.
Mm.
Exactly. So, to be honest, before I traveled to Mexico, I was really scared. I was like I didn't know how to go to Mexico, what to do in Mexico. I was really scared of what are the consequences of traveling around Mexico. Because whenever I travel, I tell people I'm going to Mexico. Everyone warns me like, "Oh, Mexico is a dangerous country. Mexico, like you have to be careful. You have to keep your phone away. You have to take a taxi, like." A trusted taxi or like a
Mm.
trusted you have to go to a trusted hotel. But as soon as I arrived there and as soon as I arrived to the customs and they welcomed me in a really beautiful manner and they said welcome to Mexico. As soon as the police officer, like the immigration officer, told me welcome to Mexico, as soon as he said that, I really felt comfortable. Felt like okay, this is a really warm country, a country that people would
Yes.
welcome me.
So now
So,
if anybody wants to travel to Mexico, what advice would you give him? Are you still going to tell them to go? It's fine. Or are there things to
you
avoid?
know, Ali, like when you go to Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
Mexicans, when you tell them you are an Arab, they would like, oh, uh, Oman or like Arabian country, it is a dangerous area, part of the world. And like there in the country, they would say Mexico is a dangerous part of the world.
Ah, so
So
you
see,
they become afraid of you because you're coming from this country.
no, like, yeah, they get scared of me. They really get scared of me. They say like, oh, the Arabian world is a terrorist area, and there are a lot of dangerous
Yeah.
places,
Uh,
dangerous people.
And
So you get
yeah,
the perspective of
yeah.
misunderstanding of the media, of how the media
Mm,
uh like like grows this mentality into us. Okay,
yeah.
this country is dangerous, this country is dangerous, but once you arrive there, you will be really impressed by uh the warmness of the people, how the people are really
Yes,
calm, how the people are like similar to us.
So I think
So
this is
you
the
actually.
would gain.
message. This is exactly the message that we want the world to hear. You know, whatever they see in the media is wrong information. So they need to take it from people like yourself who have been there, who have mixed with people. So yes, thank you for that
Yeah.
message. I think people need to hear that.
Saleh, Saleh, I think our viewers would like to know about the challenge of language, because
Yeah.
going to Latin America, for example, South America, I'm
Mhm.
sure language would be an issue. Or going to some places in Europe where they
Mm,
speak French or Dutch, the language will be an issue. In Africa, people who don't speak English, they speak French or Africana. So that is challenging. So you travel to so many places. How did you overcome the challenge of language?
So indeed, mostly language is a barrier between the traveler and the country, like the people in the country. But it's really important, if you want to get into the culture, if you want to learn more about the people and know them more, it's really important to learn the language. It's really important at least to learn the basics of the language. For example, for me, whenever I go to a new country, I always learn a new language. I would always learn the basics of the language. So I
Yes.
try to communicate with people. For example, like I would go to squares and sit with the people, and I would ask them like, "Hey, can I speak to you? I would like to practice my language with you." So I will just
Yes.
sit with them and
and they're
talk
totally
and
strangers, huh?
have a conversation. Sorry?
They're totally strangers.
Yeah, they're total strangers. I would just go to them and they're like, "Hey, I would like to speak with you. I'd love to learn
And
Spanish
they're
with
okay
you,
with
or like
that.
African." Yeah,
They don't have problem with
definitely.
that. Okay.
No, they really love it actually. Like they would love to sit with the complete. Who's this stranger who wants to talk to us? Who's this stranger who came from a country that we don't even know where it is? So it was really uh, an interesting conversation they would love to have. Even like even when hitchhike, because I hitchhike during my travel, so I stop cars on the way, and people get really interested in knowing who's this guy stopping
Mm,
us on the way, trying to get a ride. So it's always a really nice way of communicating with people, or like people would always love to know who's this stranger standing by the side of the road. Yeah, so that's
Saleh,
why like I really.
Saleh, how do you explain to them where Oman is? Because I'm sure most of the places you went, maybe people would ask you where you're from, and you'd say Oman, and no, they wouldn't know where that is.
It really depends. Like some people would just open my phone and show them the map. This is the best way of explaining to
mm,
people. Some
Yes.
people, they might know what is. They might heard of Dubai, but they don't even know where is Dubai.
mm,
So I always prefer to open the map and show them how far it is from their country. So for
yeah.
example, even when I show people, for example, let's say in South Africa, I show them like, oh, this is Oman. It's in the Middle East. So they were like, oh, you came from a far away. So they would get really interested of knowing more about the area. And that's a really interesting way of introducing them not just to Oman, to the whole Gulf area.
So Saleh, mashallah, how many countries did you visit in the past few years?
Okay, so to be honest, like for me, I don't count the countries. I know them because people ask me, but I never count countries. I don't believe that visiting should be with numbers. I don't believe that you could. I feel like it's better to know the country better. So, for example, to know the people better. So you cannot say you have visited the country and you have been just there for 2 hours or 5 hours.
For a
You should
transit.
live the experience of the country.
And I've been
So
to a country and I stayed in a hotel and enjoyed everything inside the hotel, and then I left. What kind of a travel is that?
exactly, and then you would say like, oh, I visited country number
Sa-
5, country number 6.
Saleh,
Mhm.
did your parents see that video
Yeah,
of you doing bungee jumping?
yeah.
What did they think of that?
Whoa.
They already know. They are like they know. Like I sent them the video before, after doing it, not before that. So they say like la hawla wa la quwwata. But alhamdulillah, they do prayers for
Okay,
me
talking about your
to
your
come
your
back safe.
family, talking about your family parents, do you communicate with them on a regular basis when you're there, or how is it?
I would say it depends on the communication. Sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes once a week. So it really depends on the communication and the place I am and like how busy I get or like yeah,
Mm.
mostly depends on the communication. Because for me, I don't prefer being on the phone most of the time, so I prefer being away. But when I get time, I always try to communicate with them.
So you have mentioned that you hitchhiked. Is there any other way of
Yeah.
travel apart from hitchhiking that you used?
Yeah. Public buses. Public buses
Tell
is a
us
really
all the
good way.
different ways, so we know the trick.
So walking, one, you could
Mm.
walk, and walking is a really good way of experiencing different villages because you would pass village by village. So, for example, sometimes I would walk for 200 kilometers or 300 kilometers,
In a
and
day.
MashaAllah.
whenever I pass,
In how many days is that?
like it depends. It depends. Sometimes 10 kilometers per day, and
10
sometimes
kilometers per
30
day.
kilometers per
And
day.
is it
So it really
totally
depends.
alone? Totally alone, or there are people around with you,
Uh,
other people?
I usually meet them on the way. So like I meet like locals on the way, and I stop to them. I talk to them. Sometimes I walk with them. Sometimes I just like decide, okay, I'm going to have lunch with them or like sleep at their houses. So
Mm-hmm.
it really depends on the experience I'm like seeing on my way. And sometimes I would just go between the savannas and the forest and just be completely alone for 3 days, for example.
Saleh,
Yeah.
have you come across any life-threatening situations throughout your journeys?
It really depends the definition of life-threatening experience.
The way you understand it, the way you understand it.
uh, well, for me, actually, I see the I always see the bad experience as a learning experience. So I don't always consider bad experiences, like threatening experiences, as a bad experience. I always see it as a learning experience. For example, I would say, I don't know, once someone slapped me because
Really?
I saw in Somaliland, I got slapped by a soldier
For
just
what?
because I had a long hair.
Long
I
hair.
got slapped by a soldier. Yeah,
Huh.
just because I had long hair, I got slapped.
Wow.
The thing is,
I
I couldn't do anything
No,
because it
but that
was
is
in
strange.
Somaliland.
But that is strange. I mean, what's the
Yeah,
reason? Why? Because you had long hair. Why?
be- because it's a taboo to have a long hair in Somaliland.
Huh?
You're not allowed to have a long hair in Somaliland.
So Hatim cannot walk with his long beard.
That beard
always.
He'll be slapped or maybe punched.
I
maybe.
I think I think yeah, one of the things Saleh is important is to understand the culture of the land,
Mm,
because there are so
Mhm.
many things in certain countries um, where might be okay to you but might be offensive to others.
Exactly.
mm,
So
Yeah.
what you said in the
true.
beginning is reading articles, reading blogs, and the experiences of the other people who went through that land would help
Mhm.
you to recognize such. I'm sure if this experience you've written about it in a blog, someone else that travels to that country would be more
Mhm.
careful and would avoid something like that to happen. Now I want to take you to the finance part, Saleh. I'm sure uh, people
Interesting.
want to know exactly how were you able to manage, because we understand you quit your job and then you traveled all these places around the world for almost 3 years. Um,
Mhm.
People planning for their holidays once a year, it's a nightmare. So how does it happen? How does it work?
To be honest, Hatem, first of all, a person should have a good money management, I think, a
Yes,
good way of managing his money. And for me, as I told you earlier, I'm not into materials a lot. I don't
yes,
like buying a lot of stuff, a lot of things. So it depends on where you do you invest. For example, a person would would spend all of his money in buying a fancy car. Someone would invest his money on buying a fancy phone or a fancy laptop. For me, I love or I like investing my money on experiences or like traveling. So I
And
decided first of all
you
to
don't even
invest.
have time to cut your hair.
Exactly. That's a complete different story, Ali. Um, so the thing, like, it really depends on like how do you want to travel, which how comfortable you want to travel, or like what's your definition of being comfortable, or like luxury, or like to what extent you want to be to travel. For me, I wanted to go extreme, not that extreme, but just extreme. So the way I wanted to travel, I just wanted to experience living with people. For example, I wouldn't mind sleeping in a room with 6 people or 10 people. I wouldn't mind. I would say it's
Mm,
a really a good experience staying with these people. I don't want to sleep in a room just by myself, because all what I do in a hotel, for example, is sleep and leave the hotel. So usually I don't stay there for a long time. So why they pay 20 reals for a hotel? I would prefer
wait.
paying 2 reals for
Let us
like
just look at this picture. What were you doing here? What was written there? What is that?
uh,
I can't read the
Swatmon.
word Swatman.
What?
What does it mean?
It is it's a town. So I was hitchhiking. So when I hitchhike, sometimes I write the name of the city,
Okay.
so people could know which direction I'm going. And if they are going in the same direction, they
So,
stop and they
but
pick me
they
up.
don't get scared when they see a person who looks like you, like that.
Uh,
I mean, if somebody, if I'm driving, I don't think I'll stop when I don't know, man.
in this
But
particular picture, Ali,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I waited for 4 hours until someone
MashaAllah.
stopped.
4 hours.
For 4 hours, yeah. And I didn't mind, I was like, okay, I could stay, I could chill, I could read. And I usually read books or write my diary. It's the best time to write my diary, or it's the best time to read a book. So I just chill and read a book until a car stops by.
Saleh, I want to ask you about the quality time that you have with yourself, where you're quiet, you're all alone in the middle of nowhere, you and your tent, and you get a clear mind to think about the future, to think about your plans. There's no cars, there's no buildings, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no coffee shops and all that. You know,
There's
did it
no
did it
what?
did it boost your mind, Saleh, in terms of thinking and contemplating and things like that?
Ali, Hatem, one of the things that really um, I always think about it when I'm being alone is how grateful I am, and that's a really important thing to think about. I believe that this is one of the first things I have to think about, and I stay
Mm.
like think about it for hours. How grateful I am! How grateful I am for being in this area! How grateful I am in being in a quiet place and in a place that I'm like physically fit. I'm able to travel. I'm better than I'm in a better condition, better than millions of people. First thing is being grateful. That's the first thing I do
Uh,
when I'm doing my ritual.
are, are those real hyenas?
Yeah.
What
And
what
why?
what were you doing in the middle of hyenas?
I was feeding them with my mouth, like I put a
You,
What?
stick
you're
on
kidding.
my mouth
You're kidding.
no, and they came all the way in front of me like this, and
Wow. Why would you do that, man?
they take me. It's an experience.
Saleh, you have a death wish.
Oh man.
To be honest, the story of these hyenas are really interesting because these hyenas, it's in Harar in Ethiopia, and the story is they live with people. They befriend the
They're
locals,
like pets, yeah.
so they don't harm. Indeed, exactly, they're like pets, so they don't
Hmm.
harm the people. And one of the rule, as the locals said, as long as they keep feeding them,
Hmm.
and there's a ritual, I think once a year. I don't remember at the moment, but I think there's a ritual once a year to feed
Mm-hmm.
them, so they won't attack their cattle. And that's a
So if
really
Okay.
interesting thought or thinking.
uh-huh.
And that's why, like hyenas, there they don't attack people nor cattle at
So
all,
did
and
you
they
like sign
live.
a did you sign a contract with a hyena or what? How did it happen?
It is to be honest, it's something like this with the people in that area. It's like a contract,
I mean,
An
I don't
strange
know.
too.
It's
understanding.
Yeah, but I mean, the hyenas are still
it's
animals. I mean,
I think, Ali, animals are more intelligent than we think.
hmm,
And that's how you see people living with lions and tigers and hyenas,
hmm.
because they treat them well, they feed them. So the animal also has feelings, and they are very close to human beings, and they can cope with whatever you train them to do.
Yeah.
So if they're living with them peacefully, I think that's amazing. Oh, he is the caveman back
exactly.
So finally,
with his hair.
you got a car, huh? So this is hitchhiking, right?
This was hitchhiking in Sudan, so I just stopped a car on my way and like, okay, let's stop a car,
Ah.
let's have a good conversation, let's have a tea together, let's talk. And I keep talking
So,
with them
Yeah, yeah.
about
Saleh, did you try this? Did you try doing this in Oman? Hitchhike in Oman?
yeah, I did
Did
it. I did
did
it
it
all the
work?
way from. I did it 3 times, I think, from Muscat all the way to Salala, and then from
And
Salala all the way to Muscat.
And it worked, huh? Or
Mashallah.
totally strangers.
It was, yeah,
Mash-
yeah.
Wow, here we go.
But it was difficult.
MashaAllah.
In some areas, it was difficult than others. So it really depends on the area.
Saleh, do people always stop you and ask you, why do you travel? Why did you leave your country? Especially when you go to the Arab countries. Do they ask you, أنت
Mhm.
ليش تسافر? Why are you traveling? Why are you going through this trouble? What do you respond?
Um, uh, there is a saying, Omani say, "Mul wazi."
Mashallah.
Mulwazi, yes. Yes, yes. Why the trouble? Why the
Um,
trouble? Why going through the trouble?
exactly. And I think most people ask me this question wherever I go, even in not just in Arab countries, even in Africa, like even in different countries, they would always ask me, why do you travel?
Mm.
And I always tell them like it's really beautiful to meet people like you. It's really beautiful to at least have 5 minutes to talk with you, because this is a once in a life experience to have talk with a complete different mindset, with a complete different person. So it's really like it really kills the racism. It really kills
Yeah.
the um, the wrong perspective we have about people, and it's really amazing when you meet a complete different person with a complete different mentality. So it's really nice to have a discussion, and that's what I really love when I travel, and that's a really beautiful, and it is worth it to be it is really worth the trouble, like being with people.
Ali, I have a burning question for Saleh.
HATIM burning question.
So, Saleh, do people ask you during your travel about your faith?
Yeah,
That's
do.
the first question. And then the second
Mhm.
question, uh, with the continuous travel, uh, how do you manage to practice your faith? I'm sure you don't get the opportunity of wudu and a place to pray throughout the journey.
No, actually, to be honest, it's really easy to find places that you could pray. I didn't see it challenging at all. Even when I go to a hostel in a room with 10 people, I will just open my mat and I pray. And then the interesting thing after the prayer, people would stop you and
Yes.
like it's a way of having a conversation as well. Oh, what were you doing? It's interesting. Tell me more about your religion, about your faith. And it's really interesting. It's a way of talking with people about Islam, and it's a way of introducing people about Islam. And we really get into really deep conversation, and people would always get really interested because many people they haven't seen any person who prays in front of them. So when you pray in front of them in a corner in a really respectful way, people would also respect you. As long as you respect the people will always respect you. So
Was
I
there anybody
always
who were
put it.
against that? Anybody who resisted or became angry when they saw you pray or when you talk to them about Islam?
No, never, never. And it's really, really amazing, like how people never like intervene and never like get angry when they see you pray. Um, Even mostly people would ask you like, "What are you doing?" Or like, "It's really interesting to see someone is praying," but they would
Mm.
never say something bad at all. I only once had like a bad experience. I wouldn't say a bad experience, but an experience where a drunk person who was really angry about religion, he was really
Yeah.
swearing and saying bad things, but I just completely ignored him because I was walking with a person and we were talking about Islam, And then a random person overheard us, and he started swearing and saying bad things. I just ignored him. But other than that, I didn't have any bad experience. It is really
So,
like, it's really amazing how people are really open-minded. It's way more than what we think. We always think like,
mm,
okay, we might, people might be really close-minded, or people would criticize, or people would like shout at you. But I didn't have any
so
of these
are
experience.
you telling us that it's okay? We don't have to feel shy that to go and pray, because sometimes maybe we want to pray, but looking at the people around us at the airport or wherever, I feel like I can't pray. I don't want to bow and prostrate and all this. So what's your
Uh,
advice?
I think for me, I would say I'm a really proud Muslim and a proud Arab. So I always feeling proud of doing these things without getting shy. I might be all like, okay, this is not the best pray to pray,
Mm-hmm.
not the best place to pray, but then I would go somewhere better to pray. But mostly,
Mm,
like, I don't feel shy at all. Like, okay, I would respect the people. I have to respect the people around me. So I
yeah.
would go in a place that is
Yes.
it's a really respectful, and I could follow my faith without uh, like interrupting other people.
Saleh, what's in the
Uh,
backpack? Can you tell us?
I got my backpack here.
Oh, great. Show us.
MashaAllah.
um,
All clean.
I don't think we have enough time to talk about everything, but if you can get some of the things out of it.
yeah, not everything is here, but first of all, I think I stitched it like 5 times or 10 times.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Inshallah.
And I always tell my friends that this would be like I have to give it to my kids and my grandkids,
MashaAllah. Yeah,
so they
MashaAllah.
inherit.
you should keep it. Yeah. Does it smell like hyenas?
Maybe everything smells everything. So usually I keep my tent. It's just really small. I don't have it at the moment, but I have. What do I have at the moment? I have my small sleep bag.
Sleeping
This
bag.
is the
Okay.
sleep bag. My mattress.
Okay.
What else? My first aid kit. This is one of the most important
Mm,
things. I always carry it everywhere. I have to have it. It's important.
yeah.
So there are like things other than what else?
You should carry
Even I
first
don't know.
aid kit anytime, guys.
Ah, um, a rope is important, so I always carry a rope with me.
Hmm.
Um, I don't
In
know,
So
case you
different things.
what's the rope for? What's the rope for?
in case you want to tie a hyena and take
Um,
it back home with you.
maybe. There are a lot of things you use with a rope. A lot of things. And it's really important to have a rope with you. So I could, first of all, I could hang my cloth with it, dry it. I could, I don't know, create things with it. I could tie something when it is windy. I should tie the tent. I don't know. I do a lot of things
I'll
with.
ask you a weird question. How many t-shirts you took with you? T-shirts and trousers.
Um, I think five.
And that's it.
Five
MashaAllah.
is enough.
And that's it. And you wash
Yeah, I
them,
think
and
that's it.
what do you do with them? Like, do you wash them, or you
Yeah,
buy a new one, or how is it?
no, I keep washing. I don't buy. Why should I buy a new cloth every time? So I keep washing them, and I have a technique. I wouldn't say a technique, but خلطة سحرية,
Uh-huh.
magical ingredient,
Uh-huh.
which is baking powder.
Baking powder.
Uh,
Baking powder.
Baking powder is it's the
I
best
just used it last week to
ingredient
remove the
ever.
smell from the carpet because of the cyclone.
See, So that's a good
So,
thing.
so
You could
you wash your clothes with the baking powder?
I wash my cloth with a baking powder. I use it as a it's a really good deodorant as well. You could use it as a shampoo. You
Oh,
could
all in one.
yeah, you could use it. Yeah, you
And you
could
can
use it as
eat.
a toothbrush as well.
And if you're hungry, you can eat it.
Yeah, you could add it in food. So yeah.
Baking powder, yeah, man. I didn't know. I didn't know that you can
Yeah,
use
there's
it
a
as
lot
a
of
shampoo and all that. Wow.
yeah, there are a lot of people that use baking powder as a shampoo. So that really depends when I really want to, like when I go lightweight. So it really depends. Sometimes I go really lightweight and I try to use something that is really easy use and that
Yes.
would reduce the weight of my backpack.
S-
Mm.
Saleh, I want to ask you. You've been to so many places. What is the
Uh-huh.
place that is very dear to your heart in terms of the place, and what is the place that is dear to your heart in terms of the people?
Mm, wow. I
It's a,
stayed in Greece the most. I spent in total of around 5 months in Greece
5 months.
because
MashaAllah.
yeah, because I was, but it wasn't like constant. So I was like going and coming back because I was volunteering there in a refugee camp. So
Mm,
it really meant a lot for me, and it was kind of a turning point in my life there,
Masha.
experiencing live like volunteering in the refugee camps. This is one. Two, Ethiopia because of the food. It was like the best food ever. So
mm.
I would say Ethiopia and maybe Mexico as well because instead of being there for 3 months, 3 weeks, I ended up staying there for 3 months. So
MashaAllah.
it is a really beautiful place, and it's a place that is worth sitting because of the people. The people there like are really warm. The people are like you feel they're like Omanis, you know. عندهم this is Azam, and they always welcome you at their houses. They always make you feel that
Masha.
you are a part of a family. So
Mm.
I would always say like in Mexico, they really did something to in my heart and really uh so أثر. It
Athari.
was a really good experience. I would say these three countries, Mexico, Ethiopia, and Greece.
Saleh. Saleh, the long hair guy. What's with the hair donation? Can you tell us?
Um, I think that's a really, how would I say it? I donated my hair to cancer kids
Mm-hmm.
because I grow. One of the reasons I grow my hair is to donate it as well. So I donated my hair twice to cancer kids.
So that's your plan now, yeah?
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm going bald now, so I cannot grow my hair anymore.
I
Hatim.
can give you. I can
Hat,
give you. I can
yes.
give you some.
Yes, but you have to soften it, Hat, a
لازم.
little bit. You have to soften it, Hat.
That is one of the reasons because I don't know. It's something really beautiful to do, and sometimes it's really amazing to give something that you really love, and it shows how it says hadith "إنه يحب لأخيك مثل ما تحب لنفسك." It's
Yes.
really nice to
Self-care.
do
Love
something.
for your brother what you love for yourself.
Exactly. So I love my hair, and it's really beautiful to give someone else to have this experience of having a hair and enjoying having a long hair, for example. And yeah, maybe the reason of donation. And I don't know. I feel like it's really important to think of other things as well, and to think of things that is not related to material, and more about loving, and more about humanity, and more about giving to people.
Saleh, do you think once you settle down and you have kids, one day you're going to go to some of these journeys with your kids, and you'd have a lot
I
of
would love,
stories to tell your kids?
inshallah, by God will, inshallah, one I would love to try to do the same experience with my kids. And I think it's a really important thing to teach my kids how people are different, how we are not superior to anyone, and it's important to see people live. And for example, you have to see how people are struggling to live a different life, and it's really beautiful to show them how other people live. For example, people would walk for 5 kilometers just to get water, and sometimes it won't be a clean water. And it's really important to show the kids, especially our kids, how we are privileged to live this life, how we are privileged to live
True.
under a clean house. We live alone in one room. How we are privileged we are
A peaceful
surrounded with a
country.
roof. Exactly, and a safe country, and a country that we get what we want mostly. So it's really important to show our kids the different side of the world. And it's like, as I said earlier, when I meditate, I always have to be grateful, and I really want to teach my kids that it is important to be grateful.
Saleh, have you thought of writing a book?
I am writing a book at the moment.
Oh, what's the plan? When is it going to be finished?
It I was supposed to publish it this year in March this year, earlier this year, but because of my studies, it was really intense, and they had to postpone it until next year. So
You're
inshallah,
ri- you-
inshallah,
you're writing it in which language, Saleh?
in Arabic.
In
In
Arabic.
Arabic. Okay.
Because I really want to enhance the traveling literature, Arabic traveling literature, because we are really
Great.
lacking this
Great.
side of books, or like of literature. So it's really important to write about traveling in Arabic, and then it's easy to translate it, but not the other way around. And it's really important to be proud of your language.
True.
So it's
Yes.
important to
Yes.
write in your language, yeah.
Also, one more thing, Saleh. I think for people who maybe don't read, is there any way you could also compile all the pictures and videos and make a documentary out of it? I don't know if you still have them,
A
or is
friend
there
of
any
mine
plan?
told me, a friend of mine recommended making a video, but I might make a video, to be honest, but I'm not into videos a lot. I'm not into
No, you
being
keep
on
the travel thing for you. Keep the video for people, other people, like Hatim.
I
No,
would
but
love to.
it will be more good. It's better, like, I don't know, I believe books are more important than videos, because books stay for a longer period. Books stay for centuries, but the
Mm.
video is like, oh, you saw it once or twice, and you're not going back to see it again. So I believe that
No,
it's
but
more important to
inshallah,
focus
people
on the
will
book.
watch the video and people will watch this show. Chat away, 8:30 p.m. every Saturday, guys.
Inshallah.
Saleh, are you back to the job now, or are you still unemployed?
No, I have few things to do before looking for a job opportunity. But inshallah, I will be back soon, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Uh,
Saleh, we're running out of time, and I have two last things to ask you before you leave. The first thing is, what are the three things that you learned through these 3 years of going around the world? This is the first question.
Mhm. Uh,
Yeah.
I think the first thing, as I repeated again, being grateful. And that's a really
Okay.
important thing, to be
Yes.
grateful for everything. The second thing, wow. Um, I don't know.
Feeding the
It
hyenas.
was.
Baking powder.
I think like the important thing that I learned from this traveling is we are privileged, and it's really important to take it into account, and that we have. I would always go back to being grateful, and this is my all. It will be my always my first priority.
True.
The second thing I would say, it was really beautiful to experience different food and seeing different people, and
Yes.
how people were really opening their houses for me. So a person would just like, okay, you could sleep at my house, even if they know that I'm a complete stranger, even if I knock the door at like at night, they would always welcome me in their houses. So it was really beautiful, and it was really amazing to experience. People would always open their houses for you, or people would always welcome you in their hearts, and even if you were a stranger, they're always good people all around the world.
True.
And the third
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
thing, food.
MashaAllah. I hope you didn't have to eat
Yeah.
snakes and crocodiles and monkeys only.
I tried weird things, but not this.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Okay, my second question, or my second request for you, Saleh, before you leave, I want you to send out a message to all these people who opened their homes for you, who welcomed you, who were nice to you, who spent some time with you in these countries. If they're watching you now, what would you like to tell them?
I wouldn't say these words only for the people who welcomed me in their houses, or just the people whom I met. I would say to everyone whom I met and who was behind the screens as well. Because even my friends, my family, the people on social media, they really supported me continuing my travels. So I really appreciate every word people told me, and every prayer people prayed to me, and every beautiful thing they even thought of, every niyyah, because I wouldn't do this thing without you guys, without the people who welcomed me, without the people behind the screens who really supported me during my travels, because it is a mental challenge. This trip, it was a mental challenge. It wasn't just travel without anything. It was like to really a mental challenge. So whenever you hear a beautiful thing, whenever someone do good thing to you, you would always be grateful to them. You will always be thankful to them, and they really appreciate everything. That's why I repeat it for the 10th time, that I'm really grateful for every single person who helped me achieve this travel. Even not just humans, even non-humans,
Hyenas.
even animals, hyenas. You know,
I'm grateful to the hyenas for
Thank
not
you,
eating
hyenas,
you.
exactly.
For,
for not
for
eating
not
me.
eating.
Even Hatim and Ali, even it's really beautiful when sometimes when I open my tent, and I always like I see a giraffe in front of me. Like always, like, wow,
Peekaboo.
I'm thankful for this animal who decided to stay in front of my tent and show me his face in the early morning. So it's
MashaAllah.
really beautiful. It really makes your heart thankful for your existence in this life.
Alhamdulillah,
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Saleh. You've been a wonderful guest to our show, and I'm sure me and Ali were very, very happy and pleased about your journey. And we have been following you for so many years. So thank you so much, and keep up the good work. We support you all the way. Take care of yourself, and may Allah bless you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Hatim and Ali. Thank you for this opportunity. It was a real pleasure talking to you and having this wonderful talk together. And I really hope the viewers enjoyed this talk.
Saleh,
Alhamdulillah.
in short, I would say you are an inspiration. Keep it up, man. Keep
I
it up.
really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much. Take care,
Assalamu
sir.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Thank you.
So, Hatib, what's going to be your
Yes.
next plan for travel?
Well, I would find a tent and hope that when I get up in the morning, see a giraffe and not a lion.
Oh man, I want to show you
Inshallah.
a question by Masoud al-Shidani.
Yeah, what does it say?
Uh, did you get any kind of support, financial, moral, from government or companies? Best of luck,
Uh,
Masoud.
Well, I think that question, only Saleh can respond to that question offline. But normally the case, not only in Oman, everywhere in the world, these are things that have to do with individuals. These are
Yeah.
hobbies. People travel around the world, and I don't think the government or companies will sponsor you, especially if you're in the beginning of your journey. Maybe someone who is so famous went around the world for so many times, then maybe they would be
Then
sponsored.
maybe there's a
But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, but normally, no, you wouldn't get a sponsor either from the government or from companies.
So Masoud, prove it. Do something.
Yeah. We don't wanna name the company you're working for, so talk to your company and let them sponsor Saleh.
No, but I would like to add that Masoud, mashallah, is one of the people who actually had a television channel show, yeah, where he goes hiking and all that. So he has that part of activities, and he also been
Adventure.
with Saleh in adventures in Oman. I think he's been with Saleh. So
Yes, mashallah.
yeah. So where's my subscribe button, man? Where did I lose my subscribe button, man?
Khalas, everybody knows they need to subscribe, Ali. You don't need to remind them.
They need to what? Can you tell them?
To subscribe, to thumb up, and to arrow, and what else? Yeah,
Yeah, that
and the
bell.
bell.
Yes, and then
Yes.
you'll get information about hyenas.
Take care, man. Assalamu
You
alaikum.
too. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.